Hey guys, this is IJ from the Nobody Talks Shidduch Podcast, and this is part 2 of Taking a Break. We hope you enjoyed last episode where we discussed dating, taking a break from Shidduchim with therapists, and now we're actually going to get into it with singles. I mean, who better to answer the question of taking a break than the singles? Who do we have on? Avery?
Today's episode, we have extremely talented and qualified guests in the single world. Some of the most renowned and most sought after singles, aside from myself, that you could possibly find. We had our good friend Serena call us, and we had our other great friend, Rabbi AY, who is a catch.
A catch, right, Misty? Didn't he sound like a catch?
I thought there was a little spark, but whatever, maybe it's just me.
All right, well, let's listen to it. Let's listen to it right now. Oh, yes, and we're back from that break. Wonderful. Well, guys, again, we're discussing taking a break, and we have Serena who's joining us, who is very well known in dating, coaching, social work, and does a lot of other things. So we'll have her keen opinion on the conversation continuing. Serena, say hi to the audience. Hey, guys. How are you? We're doing good. So we're trying to separate, I think, and this is probably something Avery has been thinking about, is there really a difference between now Corona quarantine break than a regular break? Avery, would you would you measure them the same, or are they different?
Well, you're asking me the question, or you're asking her?
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a good question. It's something, this is a forced break. It's a break that was mandated by a crazy pandemic virus that came out of nowhere. Nobody saw it coming. I mean, especially not the Democrats, but whatever. We'll keep that to another side. Nobody saw it coming, and it was forced. And a break in terms of dating is when you go out with somebody, you had a bad experience, or you just are, burnt out from dating, which is a big thing that comes up. Is there a difference in terms of mentality of how you should go about this, where dating is totally out of your control? Is there something you can do to maybe take it back in your control, as opposed to a date where you just feel a break, where you feel just burnt out of dating? So what do you think, Serena?
Well, I definitely think that, at least in, the world that I'm in with dating, breaks are not so acceptable. Like, if you tell someone, I don't know if it's different for a guy or for a girl, but if you tell someone I'm on a break, they're like, KY, what's going on? They obviously, they
what's up? What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So I definitely think now it's much more, I definitely think now it's more acceptable. Like, if you tell a shotgun or a friend trying to set you up, hey, I'm on a break, they totally get it. And you're even being maybe responsible in their eyes that you want to stay home, stop the spread. All that kind of jazz.
And what community is that? What type of, is that like a firmer background that you'd say are more anti-break?
I wouldn't, generalize that, this community is this way and this community is this way. I just know it, from my friends and, people I've dealt with, it's very acceptable. And I'm sure, the more religious and the more modern Orthodox, I think it's acceptable in both right now.
True. I guess it depends who you tell. Some people are very against it and some people are very for it. They're like, yeah, you should do what you need to do. So I hear that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, personally, I mean, I've had situations where I've taken month-plus long breaks from dating because it just, when you're mentally out of it, you're mentally checked out of whatever's going on in your life. Let's say you had something go on with work or, personal life. Similar to Corona, where it's just mentally just a draining idea of taking the break.
Right. That's when you should take a break.
Those are times where it could be acceptable no matter what community you're in. I personally feel like you could take a break at any point of dating, and there shouldn't be something that is the impetus to make you take a break. That's my personal feeling towards it, So But on the other side, IJ is a guy who looks at jumping right back into it, just getting as many resumes as he can, getting as many dates as he can.
I need it.
Right.
This happened
on the wheel.
This was like a serendipitous kind of situation for people because people who needed the break, just now they have, they're going to take the break, But how long does that break have to be in general?
Right. You're saying pre-corona or during corona?
Both. I think
Everything.
both. Yeah.
I really think, honestly, for me, a big part of dating is getting to know yourself and knowing what you can and cannot handle, and not allowing, even though it's really, really challenging, not allowing pressure from, friends, family, shadchanim, to get back into it if you're not ready. Like you said, like mental health issues, burnout, work, these are all good excuses for a break if you can't handle dating, because you should be in your right mind when you date. I definitely think it's really important just to like focus on yourself and be, don't compare yourself to anyone else, and just be like individual about it. And if you have to know yourself, and if you know you can't handle it, then you can't handle it, and you shouldn't try to force yourself into a date just because that's what people are saying.
I think many people do that. They like look at their friends, they compare. It's like, if she can do it, why can I do it? And then that's so bad to have that mindset, like always comparing, for sure.
Right.
So that,
right. Obviously, that's natural, though. I think we all do it, subconsciously.
Right.
But just trying to bring that to the forefront of your brain and say, like, no, what's best for me? Stop comparing myself. What are my friends doing? Like, what's good for me?
Mm-hmm. That's tough. That's tough though when you're like on that break though, and you're feeling good and everything's, and then you just get these messages. Sprinza's engaged. Schmarrel Barrel's engaged. This one, and they just keep on flying in. I mean, even right now, that can like break. That can break you. It will break you. It might even break the date. The break. It might break the break.
Right.
What do you do?
Or it can make you go out there again.
That's
So either one. I don't know. I think both. No.
But you want to date for the right reason, right?
Yeah, but it can give you that push.
That's easier said
Serena,
than done.
what would you say? Is there a wrong reason to go back to dating? Like, I think people go back to date because of their friends and because of the outside pressure. That's for 100% sure the wrong reason.
I definitely think there are wrong reasons to go back into dating, especially, I don't know, I think a big thing is if you just get out of a relationship, you need time to reevaluate what you're looking for, and you need to take time for yourself. But can I be honest for a second? Like, if a shotgun tells you, like, hey, I have a girl for you, I have a guy for you, whatever it is, and you're on a break and you're scared that, are they going to judge me? Are they going to, because I think something that's really challenging with Shidduchim is like comments, and people saying comments like, like breaks could be private. Why do you have to share? You can just say, "Oh, I'm busy at the moment."
I feel like people need to know.
I like that.
That's a good point.
Ooh, that's a really good point.
Yeah. So Kim Jong-un's on a break right now.
Wait, so what do you say to people when they ask you? Let's say you're taking a break and then they ask you, "Oh, I have a really great guy for you." Like, how do you respond to that?
Well, it depends, first of all, what you want to do. If you're in the mood to go out and try something new, sometimes that could be a good distraction if you have stuff going on.
Right.
Again, it's really about knowing yourself. But if you're not, if you're not down, you could just say, like, listen, thank you. Obviously, I try to always start off saying, thank you so much for thinking of me. Because, I really do believe this is a chesed. People don't have to think for you. They have no obligation, but they're trying. They're trying to solve the Shidduch crisis or whatever. But no, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to put yourself first. And if you're not, you don't feel like you're in that mental space to go out, then you could just say, "Oh, I'm busy at the moment." Listen, you're not saying you're busy with another guy. You're just saying you're busy.
Right.
You be busy
We've all done
Netflix,
that.
Right. And this is there was a situation, Serena, that happened to a friend of mine. He was in the middle of dating somebody right before Corona hit, quarantine, and he just lost whatever he had that was going on. He had a good thing going with her. It was like day 3 or 4, and he just lost it. Just the coronavirus. There's nothing to talk about, nowhere to go.
It just crumbled.
He said, "You know what? I just want to take a break from this. I can't do it anymore." It happened to a couple of people because of the virus. He just felt like they couldn't go past that third or fourth date stage in the relationship. So, you think it's smart, possibly, even if you're in a relationship, to just maybe break it off, like during Corona, and say, "Look, let's reevaluate where we are, and once this whole thing is over," because that's what he did.
Break it. I feel like that's extreme, no? Like, if you're doing well with someone, why would you just all of a sudden, because of Corona?
Yeah, I mean, mentally, this thing is going to be a huge psychological issue for so many people. I mean,
100%.
Financially, and then
it's a good point. You're trying to be furtive, just of avoiding that potential disaster.
Yeah.
That right. So
but
that's
if you're
interesting.
in the middle of something already, not.
But yeah. What were you saying, Serena?
No, I disagree with Misty. I don't necessarily believe in, let's say, starting something right now. Listen, if you're comfortable with Zoom and phone calls, that's a different story.
Right.
But I think if you already, started something, it's very hard to stop in middle if you both want to keep going. I don't know, Misty, maybe you'll like agree with me, like just coming from like the girl's side. But I don't know about you guys, but like, I don't know about you, Misty, but like in the past, I don't know, I've been like, taken to really nice restaurants and whatever. And like, it doesn't necessarily make a difference in the relationship, but like, if you really like the person that you're with, I don't know, I'm that type that like, you could be, sitting outside of the park and it's fine.
But I think the girls here on this side aren't considering the man. So what I would do is I would put myself emotionally, let's say I'm right now a woman, and I'm thinking about like, well, I can do it. I can absolutely like go on the phone, do videos. I do it with all my girlfriends and all my witches. But in this situation, I don't know it.
Oh my gosh, you did not just say that.
I said witches.
I know.
So can you just think for a second, like, can a guy do that? Tell me honestly. Can a guy actually, can he flirt? Can a Jewish guy went to, can he flirt? Can
Probably
he keep the voice notes going? Can he?
Not well.
So not well. Exactly.
Yeah, but if you're
But he can do it. He can do it in the restaurant and he can do it in the park. So I don't know.
Right.
So I'm all for
Well, they
like,
could do it pretty well.
let me tell you something. I just want the solution. The solution should be, we can all agree upon is let's have effective dating, good dating, right? But like, and that's something we have to think about because I know the girls, it's easy for them right now. They have it very easy because they can easily
They don't have to think about where to go, even during Corona.
But they can naturally, they can do the talking, they can do those things.
Guys don't either have to think about anything.
Stop. What? It's true.
Well, I'm not saying of the planning or anything. I'm just talking about like if you like Avery brought up, you want to take this relationship and now kind of like derail it. It could get derailed. So instead of avoiding that derailment, let me just take a break. Because why? And why would it get derailed?
We'll reconvene.
Because let's reconvene. A guy, really, it's tough for us. It's tough for us to get into a relationship, voice noting, Zooming.
But also for girls.
A man needs physical touch. I mean, Serena, you have a therapist background. Am I missing it here?
Yes.
I think
classic
a little bit.
Misty. Classic.
I think a little bit. I think also if you communicate, if the girl's mature, and you communicate to her, listen, I would love to take you here and to take you there, but obviously we can't. It's a lot of it like we're mushy. Girls are mushy. We want the thought. You thought about it. You would want to if you could. Like, I don't know. I definitely don't think it's harder for guys, harder for girls. It's hard for both.
Yeah.
It's hard for both sides in different ways.
I think
for sure.
It depends on the person. Yeah, I don't think it's girl or guy because some people, even girls, are bad on Zoom. Or bad on WhatsApp, whatever. I don't think it's.
You could say that again.
I don't know, but
hey, look, we're willing to to take a step down, to put our busha on the side and be like, we just naturally guys, we don't have that aptitude to carry out a relationship on WhatsApp, on Zoom. We don't have that aptitude, right? Like Avery and I, we always WhatsApp each other every day, a few times a day, but it's business. I have we can't. Have we ever WhatsApped each other like, "Hey, how are you?"
I don't think I've.
You guys don't FaceTime for
honest
fun?
to God, I've never taken a photo in my life. I've never even taken, let alone Zoom. I've never taken a picture. I have a lot of photos
if you need.
You like to take? I never took a picture in my life.
How? No selfies.
Of myself?
No,
God, no. Well,
I try to take some of you, like stalkers.
Please don't.
But.
There is the Shidduch media.
Misty, can you understand that? Can you just for a second think like, you know what? I don't agree with IJ fine, but like he actually has a good point because if I was seeing someone, if I decided to start seeing someone, the truth is like it could lead into some issues because they don't know how.
Right.
We don't know how to do a relationship in general. I'm saying for everyone. So now like doing this on the Zoom on the.
Okay, but it's not just guys though. It's girls also. Not every girl. It's not easy for girls either. Some girls don't know how to Zoom.
But they definitely have more that natural ability, that aptitude to
depends on the
to
girl.
be
Yeah,
on there.
Exactly.
Depends on the guy.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They don't get it.
I don't know. I mean,
so there's no culpable.
Hey, we give girls
here.
very high expectations. That's
I I know. I've listened to this podcast before. I know very much.
That's a good thing. We think that they're a lot better than us.
Avery feels like, the boy is feckless. The boy is feckless.
Totally.
Men are feckless.
Yeah. I mean, although if you could say certain people can get married, you're like, oh, that guy, But, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I just happen to think that the Zoom versus the calling versus all this stuff, it depends on the person. Like, I know personally for myself, I do not like FaceTime. I do not like Skype.
Right.
I think I would be very awkward on like a Zoom date, but like the phone, I think would be much better for me. But people disagree. You know what I'm saying? Everyone.
So I like that point. But let's say so now, like, let's say the shotgun's telling me, oh, IJ, I just swindled her into not Zooming. So what we can do is you could just call her on the phone. So, but there's a really big part of the relationship is like, the socializing,
courtship. The courtship.
Like those non-verbal communication aspects, right? Mm-hmm. So that could also be detrimental, in ways.
Yes,
you. But why can't you discuss that with the girl herself? Like if you're doing a first date over a phone call and you want to go out a second time, you can say, hey, I think it would be maybe good if we obviously give, also guys, make sure to give the girls a heads up that you're doing a FaceTime. That's huge.
Oh yeah.
Huge. You have to give them a heads up. But you could suggest it, and I don't know. I think if you're mature adults, like you can have a conversation about it. What would you rather? What would you rather? Maybe you can do both, switch off. Stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to work.
You don't want to catch them off guard on FaceTime? Like that's
no. Would you want to be caught off guard on FaceTime?
I don't care. Like,
okay.
I just don't want to ever get into that.
Doesn't matter to me.
It's because I don't want to get into that contentious scenario where, like, the shotgun wants it one way, the girl wants it one way, the guy wants it one way. So I think that's a real valid reason to think why someone would just totally pull back and now purposely mandate himself to just taking a break. Like, I'm taking a break right now. I can't do it, because it's not that I can't do it. It's just like I'm avoiding some real problems. Mm-hmm. But, of course, I mean, if people are out there seeing each other, Serena, last question I wanted to present to you. So do you, can is it okay if guys, if he's wearing a mask, she's wearing a mask, they can go out, they can do things? I mean, have you...
You're saying in person?
Yeah.
Listen, there's no choice. If you're taking food to go, you got to go wear a mask. There's no option here. Right. I think there's, you can turn it into a joke. You can make it a little bit light. I feel like there's so much darkness out there right now and everything's so heavy and intense, and there's nothing wrong with making it into a joke. Like, we're both wearing masks and this is crazy. And like, just like go with it. Like if you take it light, then I think like the guy will pick up, the girl will pick up on it. Mm-hmm. And it shows also a side of you that like you can, chill out, make things a little bit lighter. See the positive. There's nothing wrong with that.
File for unemployment together. There's a lot of things to do. It's really cute.
Get one of those SBA loans. Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's a really good idea.
It's an activity date.
Yeah. Avery, what are you doing later?
Going.
I have to get the buttons right.
Yeah. Okay. Label them again.
Awesome. Well, Serena, thank you very much for joining us.
Me.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Very good. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
And now for our latest and newest segment, Misty and the Polls.
Guys, welcome to this new segment, the polls. We take polls on our Instagram account and we share the results on here. Okay, so I'm gonna pick a few of my favorite ones and then share with you guys and discuss it. So one of them that I liked was more likely to break social distance for a haircut or a date. Which one do you guys think won?
The haircut.
Haircut?
The haircut.
I want to go with...
That's what I was gonna say, but no, actually the date. Which actually was surprising because most people said they're not dating now. Which was like funny.
Well, maybe they should date their barber.
Hey, all my hair and makeup artists, call me.
Solves two problems.
Oh my gosh, no.
What's the next one?
Next one, who has an easier time dating, an introvert or an extrovert? This one was crazy to me. Because I think extrovert won.
Right.
100%.
Wow.
What?
Yes.
That's such a lie.
It's not a lie.
People lied. People lied in that vote.
Guys, don't lie on voting.
I'm telling you right now, girls only want introvert. I'm telling you.
I think it's extroverts. Yeah, I like extroverts.
No.
I mean,
extrovert. Okay. And the last one, is this the best time for guys to date since they don't have to spend any money?
Yes.
Avery, I was looking at you.
100%. This is one of the great times in dating history. Maybe go back to like the BC era even, you know.
So actually, no. Most people said no, that it's not the best time for guys to date.
Those are liars. Or women.
Yo. Oh my gosh. And that's the end of our poll segment.
Yes, Misty and the polls. Misty and the polls. Polls.
Hey listeners, it's Misty from the Nobody Talk Shidduchim podcast, and I understand that between work, school, and your Shidduch responsibilities, it can be really difficult to find time to read. Well, now, thanks to Audible, you can listen to your favorite books and authors anywhere at any time. I love that I've been able to catch up on the latest audiobooks with Audible, including some audiobooks by my favorite authors, John Grisham, Colleen Hoover, and Rachel Hollis. Whether I'm in my car, at the gym, shopping for groceries, or even during bad dates, I love how convenient Audible is. Here's how you sign up for the Audible. Just click on the link in our show notes and you get a free 30-day trial along with 3 free audiobooks. Remember, the average person reads 12 books a year, so don't be average.
We have Rabbi AY here joining us for this next session, a Jewish man who is in dating, a guy representing the guys. He's in Jewish Shidduchim dating for many, many years. Rabbi AY, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, guys, and girls.
Hey.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here with you guys. Yeah, I live in New York, and I've been on the Jewish dating scene for a while, and seen a lot of different things. And it's good to be here and just discuss some of the various things that have come up for all of us.
Oh, yeah. And you've called in before to the program. Then you kind of got in touch with us. That's why, if anyone from kind of has a familiar, the voice is familiar. So we're talking about taking a break, a lot of aspects of it. Rabbi AY, you were talking a little bit before when we were prepping for the call about, someone who was in the middle of dating someone, how it could be a benefit to just take a break right now from actually dating someone now. So we've been talking about for last episode and now and the beginning of this episode, taking a break from Shidduchim when you're single, taking a break from Shidduchim after you break up with somebody, getting back into it. But now we're actually thinking about taking a break, actually dating someone. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So I'm of the opinion, for myself, and I believe for many, that during this time of Corona, a person should not be taking a break from dating. Obviously, Corona presents us with a lot of challenges. Whether if you're dating on Zoom, then that's a challenge. Kind of integrating personalities and trying to let yourself come across through a computer screen is very challenging. If you're not dating on Zoom and if you're dating, in person, then that creates a challenge also, because so much of dating is based on, you're trying to get to know a person, and that has to come across through a variety of settings, whether it's activities or different walks or just observations. And during this time when pretty much everything is closed, and even if you're dating in person, the only thing you can really do is, go into a backyard or maybe go for a walk. I've found that eliminates so much of what's necessary in dating, which is getting to know, people, their personality through, if you're playing pool and how do they react? And if you're at an amusement park, are they fun? Are they lively? Are they caring? How do they interact with people around them?
Right.
And just the current situation eliminates so much of that. So that is certainly a challenge. But having said all of that, I firmly believe that a person should not be taking a break, because as singles, we always need to be doing our best to try to be moving forward. And right now there's a lot of unknowns. But we need to be feeling like we're moving in a direction. We need to be moving like we need to be feeling that we're moving in a direction of trying to find Obasher, trying to find, that special person. And if a person just says, I'm taking a break, carte blanche, that can lead to a lot of negativity. That can lead to a feeling of complacency, and not just complacency, but it's a tough feeling to just feel like I'm not going anywhere with dating.
So Rabbi AY, right. So Rabbi AY, so you say that you don't take a break and that you should be going out, and because you can't go to amusing parks, it's more difficult, like we've kind of discussed already. But isn't there a situation where you think, let me get your thought on this actually. What would you think? Whose job is it to create the atmosphere where the guy, needs to put up a show? Whose job is it to put the atmosphere of what am I trying to say here? The idea is that you're looking for somebody to take you out and pick a place to go somewhere nice or do something fun or create the atmosphere that, things are normal within dating. Yeah. Who is that on? Because a lot of times, most times actually, the girls have these high expectations where they want to be wined, dined, given gifts, given teddy bears, given rings, given jewelry. These are the women that IJ and I are going out with. And it's what can you do now to impress them, to meet their standards during this terrible time? This is why people say, just don't date.
Yeah, Misty.
What would you say to them?
You see what we do for the women?
The women.
Our beautiful women.
How do we meet their standards?
Rabbi AY, I love that question.
Great question. Great question. So first of all, I do agree that I'm going to use the word unfortunately. Oftentimes the pressure, and I've discussed this with a lot of girls as well, the pressure to provide that, the ebb and flow of the date does often fall upon the guy. As the guy, you're looked to pick up the girl, plan out the date, kind of carry the conversation. And that does, produce an enormous pressure, for the guys. That if the date's floundering and the conversation's not going well, I mean, I'm sure the girl's mind is also kind of worrying, how can we spark up this conversation and not make it terribly awkward? Mm-hmm. But ultimately that pressure falls much more on the guy. If it's a really boring date, then, the girl, it generally comes out, oh, the guy was so boring. He didn't know how to, and I think that's unfair. Mm-hmm. And then as far as the other thing that the girls are looking for, gifts and things like that, that hasn't been so much my experience. That the girls are looking to, I mean, definitely, obviously a guy wants to impress the girl and wine and dine her. But, I mean, I do think that at a time like this, but even in general, a girl has to be understanding that not everything can be on the guy. And at a time like this, as we were saying, that so much of the ambiance of the date is non-existent because of the lack of background noise, so to speak. I do think girls have to be very understanding of that and try to chip in more if they're not accustomed to that to, maybe suggesting, a new game.
What do you mean chip in more?
Sorry, go ahead.
Wait, what do you mean chip in more?
When I say chip in more, I'm not talking about paying. I mean, maybe chip in more with like a suggestion, what?
No.
A girl once asked me if she thinks that if guys thought that girls should offer to pay for dates. I'm not of that opinion. I think that's, that's in our society, that's the way it is. And I think it's, the man is supposed to be the provider.
Rabbi AY, we're not asking for them to pay, but we just want that at the end of dinner, we want them to reach for the check. Show like they understand.
We talked about this.
That's
no.
Fair. As a gesture, I can understand that just because it's, I can understand that it's a nice gesture, but as far as actually paying, I don't think that any man should really expect that, just because, I mean, it's a really nice gesture if the girl says, let me get that, or, but that's really just a gesture, and a man should expect to provide.
Well, Misty, what should are the girls willing to take some responsibility in that? Because I'll come in biased and preconceived notions, like it's not fair that the guy has to, especially in this situation, dating during COVID-19.
But now it's easier for guys.
We have to control the ebb and flow. Like,
what do you mean? It's much easier now. You don't have to do all these things.
No, but in a way that makes it much harder because then, you're just kind of left with with nothing as a medium. So when I say chipping in, I mean that the girl should, when you're talking to her on the phone beforehand and trying to figure out what you're going to do, maybe the girls should say to themselves a little bit more, oh, let me suggest like a game we could play, or a
100%.
location or something good that we could. That's what I mean by chipping in, is that it shouldn't just all fall on the guy, because we're all in a situation where there's a lot of unknowns, but a lot of just lack of things. And, the girls should be expecting to have to chip in and say, let's figure this out together, as opposed to just leaving it all on the guy.
I think we do. I think girls do that. I think like to say that girls like where you don't chip in at all, like that's not fair. Like, yeah, you guys.
No, I agree.
No, because I'm saying some guys will be like, why don't they do this and that? It's like, chill. I think we do, you know?
So I think we found there's a balance. There's some girls who try demanding that they want everything done their way. They have these high standards.
Yeah.
Let's call them.
You can have high standards.
Let's call them. Yeah, those are. Let's call them IJ's dream girls. Then there's the girls who have no opinion, who don't want anything and say they're like the lemon girls. They're like the lemon. They're like, oh, whatever you said, whatever you do, you know.
No.
Yeah, put me down throw me down a river. I don't care. That's a good day. Like, it doesn't matter to them. They have no opinion at all.
Yes.
That's not good either. No, you need that balance of like,
as long as
you
the check marks on the Shidduch resume, it's whatever you want.
No.
You know?
Like, know what you want, but still be like flexible about it.
Especially during these times.
Yeah.
Oh, flexibility. Good word. Flexibility during this time. Always. But flexibility, especially now, is like probably one of the top one or two things that you need, because if you can't be flexible during this, then that means
that's really bad.
It means you're just an entirely inflexible person.
Yep. Good thing I'm double jointed.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think flexibility is a titular word. You know, it's it has to be really like shown in practice. I think you have to be conscientious of it. It's not so easy to get to. Miss D.
How do you define flexibility? What you said it's a titular word. Like what does flexibility mean to you?
Well, I think
doing what he wants.
doing what just so like flexible. Daddy's home.
Sound effects.
Very good.
I would say flexibility. I'm trying to think, dating here. I think it's good for the girls to understand that the guy doesn't have the amenities and surroundings that usually kind of bring down the tension. It's embedded in a guy at this point. It's embedded in a guy to take her out, give her the good time, make her laugh, make her smile, answer all the questions. It's embedded in the guy's mind. So now you're just pulling everything away. Let's put this into real practice here. Our feedback with asking all these guys, myself, Avery, the many Zoom dates we've been on, things like that, as guys in general, not specifically us. It's like, it's clearly, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like there's much promise starting something, or even, getting stuck in the middle of something. So that's what I mean by, flexibility. I'm not really sure if it's practical at this point. I hope it is.
I think it is. I think it's practical to be flexible in this time. Not easy, but you know what? Life is, that's what marriage is. I mean, in a way, if you can get past those, if you can overcome that chasm of this challenging time, like that's a great way to prepare for a marriage. Marriage is full of bumps and challenges, and if you can start off a marriage like this, being aware, maybe I'm gonna have a backyard wedding instead of my dream 700 person wedding in a fancy hall. And just realize, like, at the end of the day, a week after marriage, like, no matter what guns and fireworks and everything there were beforehand, like, once Sheva Brachos and the wedding is over, like, it's just the two of you. And, so it can be a really good training for that.
So you hit an interesting point, though. Do you think that there are people who are just so scared of doing something that's not in their comfortable zone, in their comfortability zone, that they just choose to take a quarantine break and they don't want to go out? Or there are people who say, I'm going to go out during this whole thing, and they're flexible and they're going to try. And you think those people maybe are more apt or attuned to get married and be better in their marriages than the people who just say, I'm not going to try. You know what? There's this whole quarantine. I don't care. I can't date now. It's, against my mentality.
I think for sure you're saying something good. Look, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to put down people who. I'm not trying to put down people who say, let's slow down on dating now, because again, you never want to just say like, oh, they're crazy, or they're being rigid. But for sure, I think that people who are willing to put aside all that and just say, listen, you got to do what you got to do in life. You can't wait for life to be perfect because otherwise you'll be waiting forever. I think that for sure says something about a person that shows that, maybe they're more marriage minded and more, ready, have more tools at their disposal for their success in a good, healthy marriage.
So when do you think it's a good time to take a break then? Like what would be the reason?
Emotionally, I think that if a person's not in an emotionally healthy place, then that's probably the number one reason for taking a break. Like, when some people think, I think that a common thing among maybe, I'm going to say younger daters, but it could be really with anybody, but is that people think that, my life is lacking this and this and this right now, but let me just get married and we'll figure it out and then I'll be happy. That is not an emotionally healthy place to think that marriage will solve that. And if a person's thinking that, or if a person's, going through a tough time and they're just not capable of being themselves, I think that's a very good time to take a break. And I think that's fully justified. And I think that's actually should be expected, because if a person's dating through an unhealthy time, they can make a lot of bad decisions, which can last a lifetime. So if a person's going through that, definitely I would advocate taking a break, maybe, see a therapist or talk through it with a dating coach or something like that.
Right.
But that is actually a very responsible time to take a break.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously it goes back to the practical differences in some people. Some people are just more emotional in general. Some people are just more, they're logical thinkers and they just go through things they're just less emotional. Like I just make my decisions logically, for example. Like I just can't think of emotion. Like a fourth or fifth date, it's all about logistics to me. There's no feeling involved in making those decisions. Sometimes you have to.
I can't.
Some people just have that knack. It's a knack, or it's a gift, or it's a curse. Sometimes,
It's a gift or a curse, like Adrian Monk
right,
says.
But I think it's a good time now for people actually to just find out and search them for themselves, how they make decisions and what type of the process you have.
I was going to say, I don't think it's either good or it really depends on the person, like some people need that break and some people don't, and they just want to keep going.
What would help them disseminate that they actually have? Are there identifiers? Do they just start throwing up and they're like, oh, I need to take a break?
Like, what are the signs?
Well,
what are the signs?
A person should always have either peers or people they consult with to know about themselves, and there are a series of questions that any competent dating coach or friend should be able to ask you to determine whether or not you're in a healthy place. And if a person, can't determine himself, then he should turn to somebody else. And, just bouncing ideas off of friends and family should help you be able to determine, am I in a good place right now? And coronavirus is, when I say that a person shouldn't necessarily be taking a break, if a person is going through a lot of emotional stress or just a tough time financially or emotionally or just anything, or even physically during coronavirus, yes, that in and of itself could be a reason to take a break, because that means coronavirus is causing something else. And that could be very justifiably a reason to take a break.
What about Avery, who has no friends?
Damn. Avery, do you want to respond to that?
I only have girlfriends.
Maybe. I don't know.
Moving on to the next question. What was my question? I forgot.
Take a sip of coffee.
What if you forget to take a break?
Shot?
What was it?
Here's something that was on my mind. Misty, what was your question?
I don't remember.
That wasn't on my mind. But no,
I'm sure it was a really good question.
What was it was routine in terms of the break. What's a good routine daily to spend? I think we've asked this to one of our other hosts, our other guests before, but just what's the daily routine? How much time are you going to spend on dating during this quarantine break? Do you spend do you market more to your shotgun name? Do you market less?
Right. I think depends.
The appropriate amount.
Yeah, I mean, I think if a person's working full time, I've spoken to some people who are crazy busier now than they ever were, whether they're in the healthcare field or things like that. I have much more free time now than I usually do. So I've been able to spend more time on it than I usually do.
Listen up, ladies.
Availability, networking, and Zooming, and just speaking to people and trying to work things out.
Right.
So if you have free time for it, and if you're in a place where you like I am, where you feel like you can devote time to it, and it's not and it's something you really want to do, then yeah, go for it.
Right. So it depends. Wait. So why do you think people look down on people who take a break? I feel like it's such a negative. Like we spoke about this before. It just some
look
people,
down.
they like, I don't know. Like I think some people look at it as like a negative thing. Like, why are you taking?
I think
break?
that's a bit. I see. I was careful to say that at the beginning. I don't want to put down anybody who would take a break, and I think that's really important. That's a very that's a pretty weighty statement to just say that I look down on somebody who's like that.
Right.
But I mean, I guess to answer the question, why would people look at that negatively? Is I think maybe they view it as irresponsible.
Right. There's also sick people out there who are just judging every single thing other people do and like, oh, you don't do this, you don't,
so, I mean,
spend all day and you're working in this job. Some people in our
that's not a good place to be at all. So none of us are like that, and none of us are looking negatively on anybody. But I think that somebody who would I think, let's say, why would it be discouraged? Would just be because they view it as if you can date and you're unwilling to, then they'd say that's irresponsible. Because
what would you say? What would you say as a guy? And Misty, what would you say as a girl? I know you just said, Misty, someone comes over to you at the chuppah, you'd be like, whatever, I just run away, which was good, which was actually really good.
Walk away.
Well, walk away. Walk away. I didn't agree with.
Somebody walks over to you at the chuppah, you'd run away.
I'm joking. I'm not going to walk away.
I liked your other response. You said you pretend to be interested.
What were you talking about?
Meaning that like Rabbi AY, you're on a break and you go somewhere and you're on like Main Street, Wall Street. You're at a chuppah, you're whatever at some event, and like you're on a break, and someone comes up to you and is like, "No, I have someone for you." Like, how do you respond? So Miss D actually was just saying before you joined us, like that either you can walk away if it's really bad.
I wouldn't.
Maybe if that person would trigger you. Right. Well, I would say that it's an option, or just pretend like you're very interested. What else can you do? What else can you do?
You mean in that situation? What do you mean in that position where somebody walks over you when you're just not feeling it? And
you're on a break. You're on a break, and
I think that's okay to say to them. Listen, I'm just on a break right now. I'm not.
What's wrong?
They push you.
What's wrong with you? Is everything okay? Are you seeing a therapist?
Right.
That's the response you're going to get.
Okay, listen, you can't live your life always to impress other people. So if they're, if they're gonna go with that, then okay. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with if somebody walks over to you and says,
you're out of the box.
Do you want to tell me what you're looking for? I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, listen, I really appreciate it. Obviously, be nice about it. I mean, presentation is everything, everything. Mm-hmm. So, if you just say to them like, no, not now. But if you say to them, listen, I really, really appreciate it. I'm just sorry I can't do this right now. I'm on break. Or listen, I'm at a wedding. This is my really good friend. I just can't do that right now. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. There's just a time of appropriateness, and you just got to meet that. But yeah, I think in that case, Miss D probably should have just given her a business card and then told her that she's on a break.
Business card. That's a good one. I'll try it.
IJ's done that to dates. Here's the card.
I have. I had a few no's this week. I'll be honest. It was not. Wasn't easy.
Good. Vent about it.
A lot of no's.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Just three.
Just three.
From
the same girl. He kept trying. He kept rejecting.
It actually was.
Good for you. If it's the same girl, that says you have a lot of guts.
He's persistent.
Look, I'm a fighter. No, I mean, Rabbi AY, it's I think you had some really kind words to share. I think last question Misty has for you. Go. Because it was a good one we were discussing before.
I don't have a question. They keep putting me on the spot. I'm sorry.
Hey. I don't like that term, they.
I'm like sorry, to hear
IJ. The bosses. He hates that.
Do you see what I have to deal with every time?
It's tough. Trust me. I very much empathize.
Yes. Rabbi AY.
He knows IJ very well.
He knows me very well.
Maybe too well.
Me and IJ go way back. Yeah.
So with dating, last question: how often should you plan a Zoom date? Like once a week, twice a week?
That's good. I like that, Misty. Because it's like I like that because like let's say you had a great time, Misty, and then the guy, he's finishing off. Like, should he just ask you out again? Mm-hmm. Are you planning something for next week? Are you planning something for tomorrow? Tomorrow? I'm in a Zoom shear and like, the rabbi after the Zoom share, I did it as a chesed. I did it as a chesed. I'm like, oh God, join. It's 6 people. Guys, had a great time. We can do it tomorrow. I'm like, whoa. I actually just returned back to work.
A little much.
Don't put her on the spot.
It was pretty nuts.
Don't say that. Don't say that. I don't think tomorrow.
So what is that?
Same thing as regular dating, right? That when is it the right time to when you're dropping off a girl to turn to her and say, listen, I had a really nice time. Do you wanna can we be in touch about going out again? I think this is the same thing. That if you do it preemptively, then it never turns out good. It's always an uncomfortable spot for the girl, an uncomfortable spot for the guy. Mm-hmm. But if you're ready for it, then go for it. But generally, Zoom dating, is where if you're starting off, I would say I always ended them off by saying, hey, thanks so much, thanks for spending the time, and have a great night. And then after that, you contact the shotgun and say, was it good or not? And then if the girl also wants to go out again, then you text the girl and you say, hey, do you want to Zoom again? And because Zoom dates are shorter than regular dates, generally, I think that you can do them a little bit more often. Like, I don't think there's a problem with doing back-to-back nights.
Right, but that's a good idea to don't say anything just yet and tell the shotgun first, because I don't feel like the girls doesn't want to be put on the spot. I feel like you both have to think about it. Yeah.
Here was a struggle I had actually when I was dating during Corona. It was the length of time of dates. Since we have nothing to do, if you just go for a walk in a park or you go somewhere or you're on Zoom, there's a limited amount of time that you could be comfortable without enough distractions, like a restaurant, like some, talking about the waiter that goes in, or I'm going to a movie, which some of us have, done. But there are things. Hey, we're being real. But there are things that you just can't have as much fun in terms of length. And what is the appropriate time, you think, to spend on a date? Obviously, some people are going to say, obviously if you like her and you're having a good time, the more you go out. But there should be either a minimum or a maximum amount of time that you could spend that is healthy or good for dating or conducive to get to know someone. So what do you think that would be?
I think that, it depends on where in the relationship it is. But for the beginning, I think that a good first date could be an hour. I think that's totally fine. If you're just going for a walk or
that's
just meeting in somebody's backyard, an hour is a long time, you think?
Yeah, that's a long time.
Wait, on Zoom, an hour?
Oh, no, I'm talking about meeting somebody.
Okay, because I'm like, that's
person.
Really
long to be on. A Corona date, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had a friend who did a 2.5 hour first Zoom date.
I didn't.
On Zoom, yeah.
Oh,
35, 45 minutes, I think is fine.
Stretch it out.
That's too much.
You know who it is, Avery.
I have no idea.
I don't want to know.
That guy.
Oh, I know who it is, too.
From the place with the thing.
Did he?
We're talking mafia terms here.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yep.
That's really long.
He got abducted by the firewall after an hour.
Rabbi AY, we really appreciated having you on. And
thank you guys. It's really great that you guys are doing this. People, especially during this time. I mean, in general, you guys are awesome, but especially during this time,
stop it.
Thinking so much about what's dating about. Really, really appreciate it, and I'm sure people, get a lot of inspiration from hearing you guys.
People do. Most men do. Women, I don't know as much. Mystique can speak to that, but they do. They love it.
Yeah.
They love us.
They love Misty.
All right. Bye-bye, Rabbi AY.
All right.
Thank
guys,
you.
Great speaking to you. Take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That was really great, those people who we just had on. I hope you enjoyed them too.
Amazing.
Maybe, guys, in closing, we can basically go over some points that each mental health professional, told us. And, we can leave our audience off because they so many of them said it great. I'll leave you guys off with this. I love what Serena said. Don't just give up your break time. Don't release it. Don't show anyone the card until you might have to or want to. So it's none of their business. Just say, hey, I'm busy right now. You don't have to go into wire in a break. You're on a whole break. You don't have to go into that whole Mishigas. Dr. Shinner was awesome. She's great.
I love her.
I loved it. Get into the whys. I like that point that she said. Just poke at it. Don't just say okay, we're at that point where we're discussing a wedding. Tell me why. And by the way, I want to hear that also. I want to hear that from a girl.
Right.
If she wants a small wedding and I want a big wedding, Like, why can't we try to figure out some compromise? Not easy, for sure. And Ellie from Elevation, I like a lot of what he said as well in terms of the break. So I think there's so many resources for everyone out there to go. Miss D?
Yeah, no, I love all of that. I love what Dr. Schindler said. It sticks out to me. She said that quote. What was it? That you don't have to be, like, now everyone's like socially distanced from each other, but you don't have to be emotionally distanced from each other.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant.
Like Avery.
I never had emotions anyway.
Facts.
Emotionally distant forever.
You are.
Before Corona.
Can you let the lady talk?
Yes, let the lady talk. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So no, I really love that quote. Just because you're far away from people doesn't mean you can't be there emotionally for each other, and just you don't have to be alone. Not just dating wise, but we're talking about dating now, but you know, and in general.
Breakup wise.
Yeah.
Whatevs. Avery.
No, there's some great insight that we got in this episode about dating, about how to just keep things simple. There's nothing going on in terms of dating. You know, you could take a break. You know, just do something that's mentally, you know, it's kind of encompassing what everybody said.
Yeah.
Do something that's what's mentally good for you, what relieves your stress. You know, keep it simple. If you do want to date, just keep it simple. You know, be creative, find things to talk about with her. You know, it's a good time to challenge them and see what they really bring to the table in terms of the other person, you know, finding out like what their favorite color is, like Dr. Schindler said.
Yeah.
You know, get into the insight behind them and not just doing the things that are fluff, like going to a Broadway show, going to a Mets game, which is very nice, fun to do, but really getting to know the person is something that we can learn from in this episode. So with that said, hi Jay.
Yeah. Oh wow, you guys are amazing. But yeah, take your break, guys. That was hope it helped. Please feel free to message us, call us, whatever you need to do. We are at Nobody Talks Shidduch Podcast on Instagram. Nobody Talks Podcast at AOL.com. And IJ and the Crews, we're signing off with my new sign off. Smiley face, happy face, silly face. This is the Nobody Talks Shidduch Podcast. Hey listeners, it's IJ from the Nobody Talks Shidduchim podcast. I wanted to take a moment to tell you about Greenpoint Podcast Studio. It's where we record. We record there every single episode. It is a beautiful, newly renovated, brand new, right in the heart of Greenpoint in Brooklyn. And it's basically a little bit close to Williamsburg, just a few minutes from Flatbush, Borough Park. If you're in Queens, it's close to there. And hey, if you're in the Five Towns or New York City, it's just a quick 25 to 35 minute drive away. So you can follow them or get in touch with them by going to greenpointpodcaststudio.com to book your next podcast session.
The LMNO Broadcast Network.